Hi, Bill. Oh, I went somewhere. Where did I go? I was here.
Welcome, everyone. We'll just be waiting 2 to 3 minutes for everyone to file in. We're so excited for today's event. Can't wait to share with you all of the information that we have. All right, welcome everyone. A few minutes have passed, so we'll keep filing in, but wanted to share a little bit about Commonwealth Corporation, who we are and what this series is about. So Commonwealth Corporation is a nationally recognized leader in building industry sector partnerships that address the skills and needs of specific programs and employers, and creating new and expanded capacity and education and training programs for in-demand occupations. So we're really committed to ensuring that Massachusetts businesses have access to a pipeline of highly skilled workers, and that youth and adults in Massachusetts have pathways to good jobs in the knowledge economy. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Express program, and then we'll be having a conversation with our partners at the Supplier Diversity office. So next slide. And we'll be discussing increasing the marketability of small and diverse businesses as part of our larger ReConvene series. Our ReConvene series is bringing together employees, employers, businesses, and our community partners with everyone together so that we can have conversations about how we are going to come back as small businesses from the post-pandemic world and post-COVID world. I would like to introduce Kristen. Kristen Rain is our outreach manager here at Commonwealth Corporation for the Workforce Training Fund program. Kristen?
Thanks so much, Letta. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kristen Rain. As Laura said, I'm the outreach manager for the Workforce Training Fund program. So I hold regular informational sessions about the Workforce Training Fund where you can learn a lot more than what I'll share with you today. And I'm also the contact for our public partners like the Mass Hire network of workforce boards and career centers. Slide 2, please. So the purpose of the Workforce Training Fund is to give Massachusetts employers the funding they need to train and upskill their workforce. And it's paid for through a small surcharge that businesses contribute through their payroll tax, through their unemployment insurance. And Commonwealth Corporation administers the Workforce Training Fund program on behalf of the Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development. Now, the Express program is one of 2 grants that's offered by the Workforce Training Fund. It provides employers fast, easily accessible training on what we call just-in-time training needs. Slide, please. So on July 1st, we relaunched the Express program using the tagline, "Change happens, Express helps." It's fast, meaning you can go from your application to training in just 21 days. It's flexible, meaning you can choose courses from a directory of hundreds of courses on our database. And it's friendly. There's a dedicated team that will help navigate you through the process, and it's a very user-friendly application. So who's eligible? So Massachusetts businesses of any size are encouraged to apply. If you're a for-profit company, you're automatically contributing to the Workforce Training Fund and you can apply for a grant. Your trainees have to be full-time or part-time employees. They just have to be payroll employees, and the training has to happen on company time. Grant funds are limited to $30,000 per company per calendar year and $3,000 per employee per course. Next slide, please. So there's a few in-demand topics that I'll share with you today. Express was trending upwards even before the pandemic struck, and we've seen that the activity is expected to double or maybe even triple this year. So one of the most popular topics that we've seen is supervisory skills training. That includes courses like the role of the frontline leader, supervisor training, and even a 40-hour management certificate course. So it'll really help you build your bench strength or maybe give your employees those tools that they need to be successful in a supervisory role. We also have training on professional skills like personal productivity, time management, software training, everything from Excel to WordPress to online platforms like Zoom 101 and team collaboration platforms. And then industry-specific training like human resources or SHRM certification, blueprint reading, CNC machining, and training on the state tax code. So the training can even lead to, in the case of SHRM, training that can lead to a professional certification. So for example, you might have someone on your team that is an office manager but's been taking on more HR responsibilities. It behooves you as an employer and that employee to train and become certified in SHRM to be able to strengthen their skills in that topic. Next slide, please. So what's next? So there's a very user-friendly infographic on our website, which will walk you through the steps. So essentially with the Express page on the Workforce Training Fund, you'll choose a course from the directory. You'll gather your materials, which that means your certificate of good standing, which is from the Department of Revenue, and you can link to that from the website. And then you'll apply for funding. So it's a very turnkey application process, and you want to get your application in at least 3 weeks before the start of the training course. You'll accept your award. You conduct training, so your employees attend the training, and then after that, you would request reimbursement for either 50% if you are a business with over 100 employees, or a full reimbursement, so 100% for businesses with under 100 employees. So the Express program has really been redesigned to give small businesses free access to training in some of their most in-demand topics, and again, a 50% reimbursement for larger businesses. You can learn a lot more at our info sessions that I conduct regularly. So go to our website, workforcetrainingfund.org. And you can also reach out to me directly at krain@comcorp.org. My email's there at the bottom. And then for any specific questions related to the Express program, you'll find their email also on the website. That's express@comcorp.org. And I encourage you to visit the website. I think just knowing that the program exists is half the battle. And I'll tell you a little bit about our work with the Supplier Diversity Office in that we've worked with them to make sure that members of their network are aware of the Workforce Training Fund program and know that this program exists to help upskill their workforce. And with that, I will introduce the Supplier Diversity Office. So the Supplier Diversity Office, or the SDO, has a long tradition of service to minority and women-owned businesses in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The SDO certifies diverse businesses and also manages several business programs that help enhance the marketability of small and diverse businesses when they bid on public contracts. Commonwealth Corporation has partnered with SDO again to promote awareness of the Workforce Training Fund among its members. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Bill McAvoy, the Executive Director of the Supplier Diversity Office of Massachusetts. Bill?
Kristen, thank you very much for the introduction and welcome to us. We really appreciate that. We also really appreciate all of the hard work that you and Lara and the rest of the folks at Commonwealth Corporation are doing on your workforce training program and all your other programs. So we're so happy to be here today. I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint presentation. First, I just wanted to quickly introduce some of my fellow team members from the Supplier Diversity Office. I'm joined by Rob Williams, who is the Director of Diverse and Small Business Engagement, also by Wanda Colon D'Angelo, who is the Director of Certification, and Dmitry Nikolaev, who is the Director of SDO Programming and Reporting. And we're all going to be doing a quick presentation to you folks and hopefully save some room for some questions and answers at the end of the presentation. So let me start by bringing up my PowerPoint. Can everyone see this okay? Great. So here's some of the stuff we're going to be going over today. We're going to give you an overview of the Supplier Diversity Office, talking about the roles we play in terms of our mission statement, and also next Wanda will presenting information on certification, our business directory, as well as resources. We're also going to talk about some of our flagship programs, which Rob will present. And lastly, Dmitry is going to talk about our Supplier Diversity Playbook, where we're trying to expand opportunities for diverse businesses. So it's not just Commonwealth executive agencies. We're trying to get cities and towns and other types of organizations, public and private, to participate in supplier diversity programs, thereby making more opportunities available for you as small and diverse businesses. First of all, just an overview of the Supplier Diversity Office. Our mission is to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in state contracting by certifying certain types of business categories. Those categories include minority, women, Portuguese, veteran, service disabled veteran, disability-owned businesses, as well as LGBT-owned businesses. We also certify small Massachusetts businesses. And part of our mission also is to not just to certify those businesses, but then to connect them with business opportunities for you to bid on, as well as resources to help you, hopefully, to be successful as you're maneuvering the bidding process with the state and with other public entities. The SDO serves as a gateway for business interested in accessing a wide range of resources, programs, and the like that we're going to talk about today. We also help to coordinate the Commonwealth's diverse and small business programs, including reporting on that information at the end of the fiscal year. Also providing resources for the institutional diverse and small business programs. And we report on this information on behalf of the Commonwealth. We are the newest agency in state government. I should check this to make sure no one else has snuck in as a new agency, but we actually were created as a new agency in this past January. We were prior to that, we were part of the Operational Services Division, which is the centralized goods and services agency, centralized goods and services procurement agency, I should say. Governor Baker filed legislation actually to make an amendment to the Constitution of Massachusetts to make us a separate agency within the Executive Office for Administration and Finance. One of the first things we did is we actually appointed Secretariat and Agency Supplier Diversity Officers. So therefore, all of these folks in all of the agencies are responsible for making sure that they're promoting diversity in all of the programs that we have in contracting and procurement practices. And so we know exactly who we're working with in each one of these agencies. We also are in the process of establishing a Supplier Diversity Compliance Unit. Coincidentally, today is the day that our Director of Compliance has started. So this person is going to be starting to develop the program in terms of what we're going to be focusing on. And our primary focus will be on contractor compliance. Those are the prime contractors that make commitments, let's say, that they will work with diverse businesses and small businesses, and we want to make sure they're adhering to those commitments. We're also going to be working on agency compliance to make sure agencies are pursuing the goals that we have, and also making sure that folks that have become certified by Wanda's unit, that they in fact stay in compliance with their certification requirements. Another thing we're doing is we're being much more intentional in our efforts. In the past, because of staffing limitations, we really were more reactionary, but what we're doing now is we're mandating that all agencies submit to us a procurement plan, so we know for the upcoming fiscal year what procurements they're going to be doing. We're then promoting and facilitating those business opportunities for diverse businesses, so we're going to be pushing those procurements out to diverse businesses to let you know about them, and then providing resources, hopefully, that will help you to secure bids. And we also have increased the evaluation percentage assigned to supplier diversity plans. If folks are unfamiliar with the procurement process, it requires bidders to bid on a contract, let's say, and certain percentages of the bid in terms of the evaluation scores are for price, or others are for experience, or other types of deliverables that you're going to have as part of your bid. And we actually have increased the percentage from 10% to 25% of those points are going to be assigned to supplier diversity program plans. And Rob is going to talk a little bit more about the supplier diversity program. We also have developed resources for all of our stakeholders, including the Playbook, the Supplier Diversity Playbook that Dimitri is going to talk about in greater detail. Our resources webpage, Wanda will talk about. We also are in the process of developing what's called a heat map of Massachusetts diverse businesses. So you can look at the map of Massachusetts, drill down further by county or by city, by zip code, and find out which businesses in which categories are inside of those, each one of those municipalities. So that's going to help to market the businesses that we've certified. We're also in the process of developing a diversity engagement compliance and reporting system. And that system will actually help to bring together, the engagement part of it will help to bring together diverse businesses with agencies that are buying things, or with prime contractors that have requirements in their contract to work with diverse businesses. It's also going to have a compliance component so we can track the reporting requirements and some other neat stuff that will be in there. We're in the process of having that built for us, but we're hoping to unveil that later on this fiscal year. And lastly, we're working with other public entities such as Commonwealth Corp and other organizations, cities and towns, to expand upon supplier diversity efforts. I'm now going to hand things off to Wanda Colon D'Angelo, again, our Director of Small and Diverse Business Certification, and she's going to go into more details about our certification program.
Good morning, everybody. So the certification program, you have to own at least 51% to be eligible to be in this particular program. These in here indicates the certification types that we accept: minority-owned business, a woman-owned business, veteran-owned business, minority nonprofit business, women nonprofits, or Portuguese-owned business enterprise. We also recognize third-party certifications, such as the service disabled owned business enterprise, or disability-owned business enterprise, or LGBT business. These are recognized by other organizations, but we recognize their certifications. The benefits of certification, there's no cost. If you're awarded on a state contract, you have the ability to market your products and services to the Commonwealth agencies seeking to meet with the supply spending benchmarks. We also, this eligibility to be a supply diversity partner with a Commonwealth prime contract, we invite you to a lot of training, networking, and matchmaking events if you're certified by us. Also, you're eligible to participate in the supply diversity program for quasi-public and private organizations. Next slide. So this is a quick overview of the SDO directory. This is, if you go into our main website and you hit supply diversity under quick links, I believe it's under quick links, so it's further down under main tasks. So that's why right now you could just go in and pick a company. It'll tell you, you could decide whether it's going to be MBE or WBE and whatever type of services you could click in. We're in the process of sort of upgrading this to make it a little bit more user friendly, but we're in the process to help companies. And right there, if you click on that particular link, it takes you right to our directory as certified businesses. And if you wanted to, you could also export it. Like right there indicates you could export the whole entire directory if you wanted to take a look at it. Okay, next slide. This is our new website, which I'm really happy about this. Robert, Dimitri, and Nani from our staff created this particular web page. On it, it has additional resources to help our businesses. Like once you get certified, a lot of companies are like, okay, what's the next step? What are we gonna do next? So in here, it has a table of contacts. We have training opportunities here, SDO training opportunities, and training opportunities from the OSD department. Like if you wanted to go for a training for vendor buying, how to connect your business with the Commonwealth, you could take an OSD training. Maybe how to learn more about the Combuy's main procurement system. You could take that training under OSD training. And then we have bidding opportunities. Under the bidding opportunities tab, it has the main procurement system for Combuy. It has open bids with Combuy. It has the statewide contracts procurement schedule in there. When you click into that particular, it has a central registry. It also has municipal procurements from, like, say, the city of Boston procurement opportunities. It has quasi procurement portals and resources, like from the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority or the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. So it's a lot of quasis in there, and they're all different opportunities for our clients. And then the third one is capacity building, financial and technical assistance. That's just like if you needed to get like a loan or something. It has the links for the SBA. It has the link also for SCORE. You know, it has different links for different organizations that could also assist our clients. The very last tab is SDO organization, that's partnerships. That's just a list of all our partnerships with our different that we have, like with WeBank and all the different ones, and just list them in detail. Right here is just the link to get to our resource page. And that's it. I'll turn it over to Robert, where he'll go over the SDO programs, flagship programs.
Thank
Wanda,
you,
could I-
Wanda.
Wanda, could I interject? I just wanted to ask one thing from everyone too. If you know of any organizations that would like to be included in any of these tabs, for example, like Wanda mentioned, a lot of our partners and folks offering capital and other types of resources, please have them get in touch with us. We actually have a request for information that's on our website, and folks can go to our website, click on that request for information on this particular page, and then we'll direct them for how to supply that information to us, because we want to make this as rich as possible, this page. We want to build it even further. So just want to make sure that if you have any contacts with other organizations that could help you and other bidders, and potentially interested bidders, please let us know. Sorry for interrupting, Rob. Thanks.
That's all right. Thanks, Robert.
Oh, this is great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rob Williams. I'm the Director of Diverse and Small Business Engagement for the Supplier Diversity Office. I'm pleased to be with you this afternoon. I'm going to review some of our flagship programs for SDO. The first program I'll speak with you about is our Small Business Purchasing Program. And I'll use some acronyms. So this one is SBPP. The second one will be our Supplier Diversity Program, which we're probably most known for historically. And the one that we're probably least known for that I'll review as well is our Municipal Construction Affirmative Marketing Program, or MCAM. Okay, next slide. Great. Okay, so the first program I'll speak to you about is our Small Business Purchasing Program, SBPP. And across the board on all of our programs, the goal is how do we increase spending with small business owners? Okay, so in this program, eligibility involves a couple of things. You have to be a principal place of business, has to be located in Massachusetts. You have to be in operation for at least 1 year. And you have to employ a minimum or no more than 50 or fewer employees, full-time equivalents. And your gross annual revenues can be no more than $15 million over a 3-year average. Okay, so when we look at purchasing, we want our executive agencies to, whenever there's an opportunity to award a small business procurement, and when we say small business procurements, these are typically procurements of $250,000 or less a year. Okay, and by using, at any extent possible, the best terms and department policies and the laws and regulations, we want our small businesses selected whenever possible, okay, using best value criteria. And we have a small business benchmark of 3.3%. Okay, next slide. Great. Okay, so the next program I'll speak to you about is probably the one that we're most known for historically, and that's our Supplier Diversity Program, known as SDP. And this program, we want to increase participation of all of our diverse business owners. And wanted to mention earlier on the different categories, MBEs, our minority-owned business enterprises, WBEs, our women-owned business enterprises, VBEs, our veteran business enterprises, SDVOB, our service disabled veteran-owned businesses, and DOBIs, our disability-owned business enterprises. And we also recognize LGBTQ as well, business enterprises. Okay, and again, the goal is how do we increase spending across the board? And we want to use our diverse businesses to the extent possible based on the contract terms, departmental policies, laws, and regulations. Now, in this program, we're looking at procurements of greater than $250,000 a year. Okay, we're going to require our prime bidders and contractors to maintain partnerships with our diverse business partners. And this is the program that Wanda mentioned earlier. You'll have opportunities to engage our prime vendors. And in this program, we have a benchmark of for our MBEs of 8%, our WBEs of 14%, and our veteran business owners of 3%. Okay, next slide. Okay, now the program that we're probably less, not known for as much as we should be, this is our construction program, our Municipal Construction Affirmative Marketing Program. We work very closely with DCAM on this program. And in this program, these are projects, and primarily they're public school projects, but these are municipal projects which are state funded, and they have MBE or WBE goals. And Supplier Diversity Office, our role is to help monitor and assist our municipalities and general contractors in attaining these goals. And you can see a list of these projects at the MSBA website. Okay, and more on our MCAP webpage as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, so I'll introduce my colleague, Dimitri, who will go over our Supplier Diversity Playbook. Dimitri, take it away.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us. I wanted to share some information about the new resource that we created. It's on the resource webpage that Wanda was talking about. Next slide, please. And that's our Supply Diversity Playbook. The goal of the playbook, which is at this point very engaging, we hope, a set of slides and a list of resources, is to assist public and private organizations in developing local supply diversity programs. So this is something that you may be interested in, or if you're active in your community or in a nonprofit organization, this is something your organization may be interested in as well. We recognize that different organizations are sort of getting into supply diversity initiatives sort of from different points. And the idea of this playbook is a set of resources that would be applicable to an organization wherever it starts its journey into supply diversity. And the hope is that we could share our experiences and our ideas with folks that are starting or developing or expanding their supply diversity efforts. Next slide. So a lot of the folks have a question about where to start. While our resource has a long checklist of things that you should start, that you should have to begin, for example, support from the top. Really, if you focus on the essential, what you need is a team of committed individuals representing different parts of your organization. Diversity and inclusion is sort of a multidisciplinary, cross-functional type of an initiative. You need a pilot project with a good chance of success. Don't try to boil the ocean. You need to pick maybe one contract, maybe one project that you would want to focus on in order to show that these types of initiatives really do create results. You need to know your baseline, and we have some ideas for metrics that you can use to establish that, and a clear measure of success. It doesn't necessarily have to be numeric in the beginning. What can come later is a formal policy, the ribbon cuttings, the handshaking, and all of that kind of stuff. The beginning for us typically is a project that brings people on board, unites folks, and really shows that this is something that is worthwhile for the organization. Next slide. Typically, when you think about supply diversity initiatives, we suggest looking at them in terms of 3 lanes or 3 types of initiatives that can be, that go sort of in the increasing order of complexity. The first one, of course, is just purchasing from available diverse vendors. The simplest supply diversity initiative is saying to the folks that place orders is that to the extent possible, just like Rob said, we're going to buy from diverse and small vendors that we know. Of course, you have to identify them. Of course, you need to figure out how it works with your existing processes and programs and procedures. But this is something that's available to anybody right away. If you know a diverse business, you can buy from them as long as it's in compliance with all the other rules that you have. Another type of an initiative that's a little bit more complex is incorporating supply diversity initiatives into new contracts and procurements that you may be doing. It's something that may be more strategically important. And this is where you can look at the industry and try to figure out if there are diverse suppliers that you would want to bring to the table. It requires a little bit of research, but again, it's available to you with your next procurement. It doesn't have to be a large one to start, but it's something that we suggest that you consider. And finally, yet more complex, is actually working with your prime suppliers to encourage them to foster diverse business relationships for themselves. This is what we do with all of our prime contractors. All of the Commonwealth contractors on large procurements over $250,000 in annual value, are required to do business with diverse companies, minority, woman-owned, veteran-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned, and LGBT-owned businesses. They pick which businesses. They pick the type of relationship they want to have. They just have to have those relationships. So it is up to you, up to your organization, which types of business opportunities you want to engage diverse vendors on, whether it's goods and services or design and construction. It's up to you to pick the size of the business opportunities. We suggest that you start small and then grow. It's up to you to pick the types of diverse vendors that you want to recognize, although we suggest that you recognize all of the ones that we named. And what specific actions you want to start with. But what we want you to do is really consider incorporating some of these initiatives into your business operations. If you intend to do business with the state, we're asking our contractors not just to tell us, not just to give us a promise that they're going to implement supplier diversity, but we apply special value to an established track record of spending with diverse vendors. So if you're planning to do business with the state, you should start doing business with diverse vendors now, so that you would have a competitive advantage at the time of bid in the future. Next slide. One of the resources that I would like to suggest that you consider is the ComBuy's resource called the Statewide Contract Index. This is something that all the state agencies use. First of all, if you're not registered on the state's e-procurement portal, please do it. It's combuys.com. And after you register, please check out the Statewide Contract Index. It has a long listing of diverse and small vendors that are on contract with the state. And you can call up any one of them. I'm sure they would love to do business with you. Their diverse certification status and small business status is included in the Statewide Contract Index resource. You can see the screenshot on the right. Next slide. And I think this is where I hand it over to Bill. Thank you.
Thanks, Dimitri. And you know, these are some of the many reasons for pursuing supplier diversity. These are reasons that we go to work every day, and the reasons that we do what we do. And we hope that you know, all of your organizations and the many other organizations throughout the Commonwealth, whether they be public or private, that they embrace these reasons as well. You know, supplier diversity reflects our values, it represents our citizens, it engages our constituents. It addresses disparities, long-time disparities. It supports local economies, promotes innovation, competition, and improves customer service. So if folks aren't a believer in this, then we, you know, can't stress, you know, the importance in our minds as to how important this is for, you know, larger organizations to have these types of programs, as Dimitri just laid out. And for, you know, most of you folks, if you're diverse and small businesses, for you to participate in the public programs and private programs that are available for you to participate in as a diverse or small business. These are some of our resources we have available. Our website, mass.gov/SDO, has all of the information that we just provided to you. I would recommend that you go to the resource page, the new resource page that we just referenced. as well as the certification, certified business list, where we have 3,800 certified businesses in all of those categories. That you, if you're not certified yet, that you take the certification self-assessment to determine if you may qualify for certification as a diverse or small business. And then there's additional information here about our supplier diversity program, as well as our help desk if you have any questions. I think we're going to hand it back over to Kristen and Lara to handle any questions or to ask us any questions they may have.
Hi, Bill. Just real quick, Bill, I just wanted to share with the audience as well that we recently launched our SDO newsletter that comes out as well. So we love it if you like to receive it. We love to get your email address, and we can certainly send that out as well. And then another great point, as we talk about evaluating, one of the things that we've been is, since the agency has been made an independent agency, the theme of being intentional about these procurements. So Bill mentioned earlier how we're getting procurement plans early on and really trying to get out in front of them. And one of the great things is that the evaluation on the procurements, and Dimitri can speak a lot more about this, but they went from 10% to 25% as we evaluate procurement. So we're taking this very, very seriously as we look at partnerships. So it behooves partners to have partners out there as we look at these procurements. So I'll hand it over to you, Chris. Thanks, Bill. Thanks.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, team. We have a few questions in the chat that I'd love to review. I'll be reading them out, and you can any of you can take the questions. So first things first, do you recognize NYS or NYC MBE certification?
Yeah, we recognize all out-of-state businesses also, not just Massachusetts-based businesses.
Great.
However, just want to clarify that folks would still have to apply for certification through our application process, and that if you're certified by those other organizations, we would ask for a copy of the site visit, right?
Right. So if you go to our main webpage, when you go into the button that says certification program, it has apply as a Massachusetts-based business, you have to attend a webinar. It says apply as an out-of-state business, you have to view a webcast, and then you could go and apply. And then you have like a whole bunch of documents you have to upload according to your business structure.
And I would just like to add to that too, that we have, in addition to that, those folks having to follow our full certification process, we have third-party agreements, as this Wanda noted on her slides, with the Center for Women in Enterprise and Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council, as well as the City of Boston, and as well as the National LGBT Chamber of Commerce and the National Disability Inn. So what that means is we accept those certifications on their face. Now that we're a new agency.
Laura, are we recording this?
Sorry about that.
Now that we are a new agency and starting to grow, we're actually going to be looking at expanding our certifications so we can wave in more organizations that have certifications that are aligned with ours. So New York State, New York City certainly are organizations that we would potentially look to potentially wave in, folks that are already certified by them that wish to opt onto our list as well. That process does take a little time in terms of us meeting with them, aligning the certifications, developing a memorandum of understanding and all that, and executing that and getting agreement on both sides. So it's certainly something we're going to look into longer term.
Thanks, Bill. The follow-up to that question was, do you have discretionary spending such that of NYS and NYC of up to 500K spending for MWBE firms? That seems really specific, so I don't know if you have anything to speak to that.
I can generally say that the way our program is structured, if for anything over $250,000 per year, so if you have a 3-year contract for $800,000, that's over $250,000 per year. That contract would have the supplier diversity program requirements in that contract, meaning that all bidders and the contractor who ends up being awarded the contract must commit to a supplier diversity program plan, which means a percentage of their revenue that will go in subcontracting or ancillary or some other type of service or good that will be part of that contract. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but again, so that is part of a discretionary spending. Our procurements for they're called large procurements over $250,000 per year would have supplier diversity program requirements And contractors can meet that by including minority, women, veterans, service-disabled veteran, persons with disability-owned businesses, as well as LGBT-owned businesses. We only have goals thus far, as Rob pointed out, for minority, women, and veteran and small businesses. So agencies are looking to achieve those goals, but the contractors themselves can use any of the categories to achieve their commitment in their contract.
Great, great, good to know. Another question we have here is, what does it mean to be third-party SDVOSB certified? And does being VOSB non-third-party certified give you priority over SDVOSB?
So that's we actually only have service disabled veteran owned business enterprise certification that we accept, but we accept VetBiz certification. So if you're certified by VetBiz as a VBE or veteran business enterprise or SDVOBE, we accept that certification. And also if you're certified by Disability In as a disability owned business or DOBI or a service disabled veteran owned business enterprise, we accept that as well. Sometimes they call them STLVO small business, SB at the end. Sometimes they do or don't include that, but any of those categories done by VetBiz or by Disability In, we accept those certifications. If you're certified by another organization as into one of those categories, please let us know, contact us, and we can look into, again, whether we could potentially enter into agreements and discussions with those folks about accepting their certification, similar to the way we have done with these other organizations.
Yeah, so like Bill said, if you have a service disabled owned business or DOBI business, it's more or less, it gets fast tracked in our system. You don't go through the whole long process. You hit the button that says apply as a recognized SDO recognized company. You hit that button. Once you hit that button, it navigates you. All you have to do is go and apply, and all you need to submit is a copy of your letter from from the Disability Inc. And that's the only document, and you automatically get certified under that criteria. Certificate. Okay.
Great, thank you so much, Wanda. We've got another question, also looks like it's coming in from New York, but I guess the question is, do we need to have a physical office in the state to qualify for bidding in these projects?
No, so if we get a lot of companies that their principal place of location is another state. So those are the ones, anybody that's applying from another state have to hit the button that you're applying as an out-of-state company. And then the system's gonna know you're an out-of-state company. One of the required documents it's gonna ask for is like, you have to be certified in your home state first. It's gonna ask for a copy of the letter from the state of New York, and it's gonna require a site visit from the state of New York. And then all the other documents according to whatever business structure you are. If you're an LLC or if you're a corporation, depending, there's different documents that you have to upload.
Okay,
if I
good
could
to
just
know.
clarify
yes, please do.
something. The last question that was asked kind of phrased it as, do you need to be certified to qualify for projects? We do not actually have programs that are set aside that require certification to qualify for them. We encourage every company that is qualified to provide a service or product to bid, but we specifically want and seek out diverse companies to participate in in our bids. Basically, what happens typically, our contracts are multi-award contracts, and while companies that bid do not get any additional points for being certified, we do set spending goals for our departments to meet throughout the year, and as a result, departments have incentives and actually support, like policies that support those incentives, to then make a preference for awarded diverse vendors. So the certification becomes extremely valuable after you bid, once you're awarded. Just to clarify how this works for Massachusetts.
Thank you so much, Dimitri. One of our follow-up questions is, does SDVOSB and DOBE fall within the same category if the SDVOSB is rated as 100% disabled?
So again, we do not have goals yet for disability or Adobe-owned businesses as well as for LGBT-owned businesses. But again, we accept service disabled, veteran-owned businesses as well as disability-owned businesses. As prime contractors can promote them as being part of their contract. So they're both treated, the same in terms of how contractors can utilize their services. I'm not sure if that's answering the question that was posed, but again, both are considered eligible for participation in the Supplier Diversity program.
I could also address this. When we track our spending, we track combined business spending, which is service disabled veterans and veteran-owned businesses in one category. And for that category, we have a goal of 3% spending for departments. So departments are specifically kind of incentivized. There's a goal set for them to spend with veteran-owned businesses that fall into those two categories. In addition to that, service disabled veterans also contribute to another spending category, the disability business category. There's no goal for departments for this category, but we do encourage them to spend in that category as well, and actually kind of make vendors in that category visible to the departments in order to promote it. In terms of how this works for prime contractors, I mentioned that we incentivize prime contractors to do business with diverse vendors as well. Prime contractors set goals for themselves for supply diversity initiatives, and we do not actually mandate any specific mix of diverse vendors to use. So all certification categories count equally towards prime contractors for goods and services meeting their goals.
All right, thank you so much. I believe we have one or two questions as well. Are you going to spend on building renovation as we concentrate in asbestos survey and remediation and hazardous waste disposal? Also seems pretty specific. They also want to know if, as a certified MBE firm subbing the work from a GC, do you assist with ensuring that the GC pay?
I can take the first question.
Great.
So the first question is whether we're going to be doing renovation. Absolutely. We definitely want folks to participate in building and construction projects. There is that type of work. We have a construction program that sets pretty firm goals for vendors. Well, actually, firm goals for vendors to meet as they implement the program, the projects. In addition to that, hazardous waste disposal is actually something that is available on the goods and services side as well as a service whenever an agency, for example, generates some hazardous waste, because we have lots of facilities like garages and even like armories and all kinds of different things. And municipalities obviously have hazardous waste days as well. So there are definitely opportunities for businesses that do hazardous waste and or asbestos remediation.
And the second part of that contract I can address, as a certified MBE firm subbing, do you assist with ensuring that the said GC pay us? That actually, we do have another agency, the Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance, that oversees construction procurements of state buildings. So it sounds like this is pretty specific to construction. So they would work actually with the primes and subs in that situation, and I would recommend contacting them about anything construction related. As I mentioned during my presentation, we are standing up a compliance unit. And part of the compliance with contractors is if a contractor hypothetically commits a certain percentage of their spending will go with diverse businesses. Part of our commitment in our compliance efforts will be to make sure that the prime is in fact meeting those commitments. And we're also going to be doing some testing of contacting certain subcontractors to make sure that they were in fact receiving the amounts that the primes had committed, that they have stated, I should say, in their report that they made to the subs. So that actually will be part of our overall compliance effort. Mostly though on not related to construction. Again, the Division of Capital Asset Management would focus more on that part of it. But for contracts overall, you know, our focus is to make sure that primes commit to the percentage they committed to in their contract. And then again, that the subs receive those amounts.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So looking at the questions coming in, it looks like we're going to be sending out some contact information for this afterwards. And we'll talk about sending out the slides as well. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much for the SDO, well, the Supplier Diversity Office, and all of you for speaking to us today. This has been a phenomenal experience. There will be a follow-up survey that pops up right after this webinar ends, as well as it will come to your email afterwards. We'd love to get your feedback on today's event. And please check out our next event coming up next Tuesday, which is going to be with the Small Business Administration, and is going to focus on finding resources for small businesses. So thank you so much to everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Great job. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. See you, Kristen. Have a good day. Cheers. So.